Hi, I'm Matt Hernandez, and this is Book Chat with You. In most episodes, I will read a short story, read it, give some thoughts, ask you what you think about it. That's what's essential, what you think. This is a response video. At this moment, where I could probably better make videos, it's next to the room that my mother-in-law's in. Can't disturb her. You see, this area doesn't look so great, right? It's not about that. Maybe I can try to get a better looking area and all that later on. Keep working on this. But that's not what it's about. It's about what you think. This is a response. And in that response, the person had said, don't read for others, read for yourself. To me, it's just the complete opposite. At least with what I'm trying to do here. You know, there might be something that I need to learn, I need to see, I need to read. But for the most part, what I'm trying to accomplish here, it's not about me, it's about you. For me to do this, I have to put you first. Your opinions matter. Your perspective matters, not mine. And that must be first and foremost. You know, as I make these comments, it's too bad I cannot really look at my phone's WeChat while making this video. Or maybe I should have had my other phone in my hand and then just peruse through the captions and stuff of YouTube videos. I mean, what can you see on WeChat? You know, people, it's just a video, just themselves in tight clothing, and then they turn a bit to the right, turn behind, turn to the left, look at the camera, that's it. It's also self-centered, you know. To me, I wouldn't try to prove how much I could read. In fact, I keep rereading, and in fact, these last 4 recordings, including this one, I'm just re-listening and re-listening and re-listening. And to make this video, I'm just responding to a video I saw like this morning, right? Fast, simple. But to make a video on even like a 40-page story, I have to re-listen to it so many times, find some time to read it, to put out a 10-minute video, hoping to hear other people's input, so that way I can know the story well enough. But just in a 10-minute video, not even go over everything, right? To try to build that, build rapport, build credibility. But build it for you, so that way I might be one for you to trust to give your opinion to. Because it's your opinion that matters. It's not my own. You matter. You are important. But another aspect at the same time, it's about saying that your voice matters. And in stories, we get that. And in the same perspective, when I move out of this country for the last time, which will be an incredibly sad time for me, you know, I can only talk about my daily experiences. But if somebody shows a movie, a show, a play, something here, something in Northwest China, and I can say, you know what, from my experience, that's true. From my experience, that isn't true. But for me, what did I do today? I got rid of a bunch of broken video game controllers, go with my son, go downtown, or kind of drop them off, look at suitcases, come back. What in a sense would be interesting with that? But through a story, we have something to connect us to it. We have something to share with both of us, both of our perspectives back and forth. And that is interesting. That creates connection. That's valuable. And if somebody says, please read this, you know, what's interesting with this podcast is that, you know, when I look at Podbean and I see how many downloads I have like 75 downloads. And I wonder if like a sentence or two from the last one would really burn any kind of downloads I'd get in the future. It's not that anything malicious. It was just my interpretation of what I get from the story. And it's difficult to say certain things. But one person who listened to about 2 of my podcasts, me and him haven't gotten along before. And yet he listened to 2 of them or so. And to me, that's an act of love. That's an act of caring, and I appreciate that. And you know, I'm just one guy like making this. I mean, I don't script these because, for instance, if I use AI, so-called AI, to help make the descriptions after the podcast and whatnot, then I don't want to further dilute my material further with AI making this. So I'm just talking. But it's not about me, it's about how do we form part of that connection. If you ask me to read a book, then maybe I should read it. Then after I read it, maybe we can hang out and talk afterwards. I mean, is that still the stereotypical thing people do on like the first couple of dates is you go to a movie, right? Or, you get some friends, you go to a movie, you talk about it afterwards. Hopefully, if it's a good movie, then you have a lot of conversation afterwards, and then you talk about the directors, the actors, if it's part of a series, and you converse for a while. You have that connection. But otherwise, maybe, a couple of teenagers, they're hanging out, they don't know what to do, and then they're just bored. But then there becomes that starting off point, that conversation. And to me, so much that matters. But how do I both say that this material isn't about me, it's about you, your perspective, what you think, what you have to say? And did I make an error in how many comments I reflected in me about my day, my perspective, what's going on? And I apologize because, there's a balance somewhere in that. And where to find that balance would always be difficult because to me, what matters is the minutia of one's life, I mean, if I continue listening and reading the story by Dashiell Hammett, Flypaper, right here, if I continue reading and rereading the story, it's kind of hard to find something about that minutia of life to talk about. But nevertheless, if we sat down, we talk about it. We talk about this, something about the olden days, about how things used to be, far before most of us were even born. And but it's fun to read a detective noir story. There's still going to be something there. How has that changed? How might people research things differently? How might an autopsy happen now versus how it happens in a story? And these conversations matter. It's not just about my perspective about whatever like that, but to try to build an ongoing rapport and respect and trust with others, to have these conversations, to have whatever we might think about texts, about stories, about perspectives. Because that's how we build a better everything. It's not about being self-centered. But how do I say that it's not just about being self-centered? Because I'm trying to build whatever content, and it's painfully difficult. But through the best I can, that I'm building something, but maybe we can build something. That I can hear your perspective, that I can make something that's not about me, that's about you, that's giving back. That I hear your perspective, that we can share in those conversations. So this video is probably long enough, and I'm sure that in 3 hours or 5 hours or tomorrow morning, the following day, I'm pretty sure I will think of some stray sentence I said that, why did I say that? Or I could have said this better, or maybe I could have had this better perspective with something else. But I don't know, do the best I can, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope to hear your perspectives on stories or how we can share these things together, how we can just enjoy each other's company through this. And I would love to hear your perspectives on this or whatever else. So have a wonderful and a blessed day. Thank you. Bye.